Good evening, everybody. This is me, Dave Unger, coming to you here tonight to do a video that I really was kind of hoping I would be able to avoid. That's not going to be the case, and I'm going to explain a few things that are going on here on this video. The reason I'm doing this is more to document the whole situation. And yeah, a lot of this is going to be me bitching about certain things. And I thought things would work out a little bit differently. I did not anticipate some of the stuff going on, but I wanted to also do this to make sure that if anybody else has experienced this sort of issue, that to know you're not alone out there. And I'm going live with this one because I seem to get better interaction when I'm live. And obviously, I can't advertise this thing on X. So here's the deal. After 11 years of being on Twitter and on X, the Attitude of Regression's X account is gone, suspended, and more than likely will not be coming back. And I wanted to take the time to explain what had happened and just kind of to run through this thing and just to let anybody out there listening know just how bad X actually is for anything remotely close to customer service. So in the 11 years I've had the Attitude of Regression's X account, I spent all that time building up the following, earning the trust of people who I worked with on Twitter, on social media. Oh, and I don't have a huge following, but nearly 5,900 people. That's not small either. And I was very proud of the stuff I'd accomplished on X, and I thought I had a good reputation. And I never got tagged with anything. I never got flagged with anything. I never got a post reported. As far as I knew, no one ever told me about it. Nothing, zero issues ever with X. I think like once Jeremy Corbell had posted something about the Nazca mummies and I reposted it and it got flagged for like showing something with graphic content. And I did the automatic kind of like mini appeal sort of thing that they did. And they dropped it immediately. They said, yeah, you're right. It's nothing here. So that's like the only thing I can ever think of. But here is the chronology of events that I want to go through with you guys because this stuff is kind of ridiculous, and I just really need anybody else to kind of and some of the stuff that has happened since this whole situation went down makes me feel really shitty. So here's what happened. So on February 17th at 10:15 a.m., and I'm reading off of something I've prepared that is going to go to X eventually here in the next week or so after I do a few other things. But on February 17th, 2026 at 10:15 a.m., I got an email from X, and this email indicated that a passkey had been added on iOS. And I'm like, okay, I didn't do that. So I followed the instructions in the email, immediately changed my password, and like at 10:17, so 2 minutes later, I got a confirming email from X. Password had been successfully changed. Okay, seemed like no big deal. Couple days went by, I had no issues, nothing to make me think that anything was out of the ordinary. On February 19th, though, so I'm driving to Fresno. So I'm on the road when this whole thing happens. On February 19th at 12:53 p.m., I got an email from X notifying me that the account's email address had been changed to one I'd never seen this before. I've looked at it since then. It's just some bullshit, random, spammy sort of email. As soon as I saw this, I had stopped at a gas station to fill up right when this email came in. So I stopped and I immediately got on there, I reported this to X as a hacked or compromised account. At 1:12 p.m., I received an email back from X confirming they're telling me you still have control of your account. Well, that's bullshit. I did not have a control of my account at this point in time. Once the email address was changed, I was locked out. So no matter what I tried to do to get back in, to change the password or anything, I was locked out from that. And from February 19th up until yesterday, March 3rd, I had not been able to get back into the account. I informed X of this at 1:56 p.m. on February 19th, advised that my password, my two-factor authentication had seemingly been changed, and nothing happened because they thought I was still in control of the account. So later that afternoon, my hacked profile created this bullshit pin post. And it's a post that was talking about a crypto scam, that I'd used crypto and it got me first, it was like a car. Then a subsequent post said that they got a house through all this bullshit. And in all of these three tagged posts, they tagged this one profile. I'm going to out this person right now at CC_Melissa. She was tagged in all three of these things. Now, this profile is a protected account. So you can't, unless you're actually mentioned in the post, you can't reply. You can't do anything with this account. I know myself and several other people reported her account as being bullshit, as being listed as part of this scam. And to this day, nothing has ever been done to that account. She's still active and out there, even though my account gets in all this trouble for posting these pinned posts that has her in there. But we'll get to that in a minute. This thing is going on. I'm at the Conscious Life Expo down in LA for the Consciousness Convention, dealt with UFOs and consciousness and all that sort of stuff, which was a great event. And I am going to be doing a recap on that pretty soon in an upcoming episode. And by the way, this video I'm doing is not an official episode of Attitude of Progression. This is just to put this out there. I keep sending emails to X and keep going into their help center to try and update things to add, I add a new screenshot of a second post that comes in. Every message comes back from X. It just says, your original case is in the queue. Wait for us to hear back from you. Meanwhile, what I find out subsequently is that these people who have hacked into my account are now starting to send DMs out to followers, people I am friends with, people I respect greatly. I didn't find out until several days, like last week, Pavel Ibarra from the Psychoactivo podcast. I was talking to him on his Patreon chat, and he told me they tried to spam him and he had to block my account. And I don't blame him for that, but I'm mortified at the thought that these guys tried to scam people who I consider my friends. I consider them colleagues, people I respect greatly, people who I worked really hard to gain their trust so that they would interact with me. And I don't know how many others got hit with this sort of thing. To anybody who watches this video, I profusely apologize. I am appalled, beyond mortified that that was done to anybody who I truly respect like that. It wasn't me, guys. That's all I can say. It was not me. It was his bullshit. So anyway, as all this is going on, I keep doing follow-up emails. On February 22nd, I'm still doing it. There was no response to any of this stuff. Every attempt I made to get any sort of an update through the X Center, just the X Help Center, kept telling me my original case was in a queue, await a response. That response never came. Ended up creating uploaded something, and it finally did something and created a second ticket, which is probably a mistake because it reset the whole damn process or something like that. 2 days after the initial hack, X was still telling me I had control over my account, which again, complete and total bullshit. Despite X's actual knowledge that the account had been hacked, it did nothing to lock down. I mean, whatever they want to do with this CC Melissa bullshit is one thing, but they didn't do anything about my account. They didn't lock it. They didn't suspend it. They didn't do anything about that. Other posts came out there. Like I said, I have no idea how many of these stupid things happen. So when all this stuff failed, because I'm a California resident, I sought access to my account information because what was going on was violating my privacy rights under California's CCPA, Consumer Protection and Privacy Act, I think something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. So I filled out a separate request through X's privacy tab. I think it went through, but I never received anything confirming that from X. I did something on there that I'm not even sure what it was, but on this one, they actually scanned my driver's license, scanned my face, and then told me, oh, you have to be logged in to submit this. But I can't log in because these guys have locked me out. So after Conscious Life ends, Monday, February 23rd, I used my wife's account, her X profile, to report my own profile, the Attitude of Aggression, as being inauthentic. And at 8:56 a.m., X notifies me that my account had been suspended, which I was like, okay, well, that's cool. It finally got locked down. So that'll stop the bleeding, right? X notified me I could appeal this. But the problem with that is to appeal the suspension, you have to be logged in. I can't log in. So I can't appeal the suspension. So this just kind of goes, and as they tell me that my account is suspended for multiple and repeated violations of X's rules, which wasn't me, it was the hackers, and they're kind enough to also notify me that although my account's suspended, my premium subscription, and you got to remember, I'm a premium subscriber too, my premium subscription wasn't going to be canceled. Now, luckily, I got that through Apple, so I was able to cancel the subscription to there, so it's not the worst possible situation. But at this point, I'm just like, what the fuck? I can't appeal the suspension because I can't log in. Every time I try to log in, I get caught in like a two-factor authentication or some sort of code that's out there that won't let me get past that wall. I file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau on February 23rd. The next day, the Better Business Bureau notifies me they have accepted my complaint, so it's valid, and they forward it to X Corporation. Once this happens, I start looking through the Better Business Bureau's website. This X has over 150 similar complaints on the Better Business Bureau website. They are not certified by the Better Business Bureau because they don't respond to shit. And they have like a 1.1 rating on the Better Business Bureau's website. So that tells you a little bit about what you're looking at. Now, I know some of the people who are complaining on X deserve to be banned, that they were spam artists, they were scammers, they were this, they were that. I get that some of that stuff is justified. But when you see 150 complaints that sound very familiar and very similar, you start to say, what's going on? At this point, I'm like, okay, I've got no alternative but to report this to regulatory agencies. I'm going to report this to, and you know what? I'm not even going to go into all the people I'm going to report it to, just saying it's going to happen because somebody needs to know about this thing. So I think it was Monday night, March 2nd. I tried to go back in under the two-factor authentication thing. And for some reason, this time it kind of goes through a little bit. And I get this email back from X and they're saying, they give me some instructions and I tell them I can't get in with the code because these guys have locked me out. And then I get something from X where they disable the two-factor authentication. So I'm like, look at this thing and okay, wow, somebody's actually like looking at this situation. Great. I can finally get somebody to review this thing and get my account back. So sure enough, they did remove the two-factor authentication and I'm able to log in. Hallelujah, right? It's like, finally, I'm able to log in. So I get on there yesterday and I'm logged in and the first thing I see is, okay, the account's suspended. I can appeal this. Great. Now I can go into the appeal form. So I spend 20 minutes outlining everything that happened, right? All the chronology of this events, telling them, hey, it wasn't me. I was hacked. I told you guys I was hacked. I got my identification. I'll do whatever you guys want to manually verify this thing. So I do all that, spend 20 minutes, hit the submit button on the appeal. I shit you guys not, within 30 to 60 seconds at the most, I got the email back from X telling me that the account had been suspended for multiple and repeated violations of X rules and it would not be reinstated. It was permanently banned. So no human could have possibly looked at that in 30 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever it took them. So the whole appeal process is a sham. It's a scam. It's a fraud. They had no intent. There was never any chance I was getting that account reinstated by doing that. So why even give me the opportunity or the opening to appeal this if you guys were just going to automatically deny it anyway? So it's fraud. There's no other way to put it. X's appeal process is a fraud. Everything about this is a company that is owned by the richest man in the world. And yet he does not have any human beings supervising stuff like this. And there's tons of people who get hacked all the time. And they all get the same sort of bullshit response. Tough shit. Your account engaged in something that broke the rules. You're banned. And today I go on there and I'm in a read-only status. So I can get back on X and read and stuff like that. Can't interact, can't post, can't like anything. X says I have no followers and nobody's following. They say I have no followers and I'm not following anybody. But my feed is clearly still the feed I had before all this stuff happened. It's the same accounts that I'm getting all the information from. I just can't interact with it. So yeah. So the appeal was complete bullshit. And today it says, if you think we got this wrong, and they said today, after a careful review, I'm like, bullshit. Nobody reviewed a goddamn thing. It's just ridiculous. And I mean, and yeah, it's appalling. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to bitch about this, but I had to get this off my chest. And I do have people who follow me who have asked what the fuck happened. And I don't think it even, people who I'm very tight with and I podcast with all the time, I don't think they understood the full depth of what had happened until I started explaining it to them. And they're just shocked. Like, what the fuck? But that's the situation. There was no careful review. When I tried today, like I was saying, this whole careful review, if you think we got it wrong, submit an appeal. All right, I'll try an appeal again. And the appeal this time wasn't nearly as diplomatic. I called them out on their bullshit. And then they tell me my original case is still in the queue. Wait to hear back from somebody. And I'm like, you guys already shut this case down. I received an email last night saying my case had been closed. That's pretty much it. The thing that really pisses me off is the appeal thing that nobody, I really thought, okay, somebody's looking at this thing. I'll be able to make my case. They'll say, okay, this wasn't his fault. Give him his account back and that sort of thing. That didn't happen at all. And that's just, the way Mike's on here right now, bro. All I could say is when this episode is done, just watch it, man. The Cliff Notes version for Mike, who's just tuning in here, I got hacked, man, and I have not been able to get my account back. They suspended me permanently because of what the hackers did. Not because of what I did, but because of what the hackers did. And I tried to appeal it, and it was automatically denied within like 30 to 60 seconds, man. I submitted, it took me, I had been locked out since February 19th. I got back in yesterday because somebody finally removed the two-factor authentication that the hackers had changed so I could use a password. I got back in to appeal it, and it was denied immediately. There's no possible way a human could have read that. So I'm permanently suspended, apparently, but and you know, Mike, now you're getting caught up with this thing. What I'm gonna, and you know me. Yeah, exactly. I was wondering, I knew people had wondered where you went, where I'd gone. That's where I am, man. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna, you know, and I certainly don't expect anybody to jump in the water for me on this one. But I mean, if you watch this video and you're appalled by the circumstances, just how bad X's lack of customer service is, and you want to post this video on X, please tag them, tag X support, and say I need to be reinstated because. Yeah, man, like it bothers me that after 11 years of never doing anything wrong, this happens once. And I told them about it immediately and they did nothing about it. And then it got worse. And then it's like, guys, your security failing did this. You were the guys who knew about it. You didn't lock this shit down. It's on you. I did what I was supposed to do as soon as I found out. I couldn't have reacted much faster. I really couldn't. But be that as it may, the account is right now permanently suspended. You know, the only hope is that a human would actually like look at the situation at some point and say, hey, you know, this guy didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, and Mike's one of them, who, if the opportunity was there, they would vouch for me and say, this guy's all right. You know, somebody got, and I don't know how I got hacked. I mean, when it happened, I had my suspicions. I suspected, you know, but it's speculation at this point because it's like, well, maybe it was just like, no, that's happened before. Nothing happened about that. Somebody got in and did a real number on the account. Yeah, they should have known, but yeah, I don't know. You would think that somebody would have figured out. But yeah, I mean, and the message today says, you know, I can't create new accounts because one of the guys, you know, PC Tunney, who I podcast with, he's like, why don't you just create a burner account so you can kind of like just interact or do stuff in chats and things like that. The message they told me, I can't create new accounts. So I think they've gotten the IP banned as well, which is just lovely. So my plan at this point is I am going to report this to regulatory agencies. It won't make a fuck of a difference. I know that, you know, I mean, unless like the FTC or somebody really came down to these guys and said, hey, there's a problem here. And if they actually did look at the Better Business Bureau's site and saw all the complaints, that might be a problem. You know, nobody needs that kind of bad press. But then again, what the hell does Elon care at this point? So I'll report this to the proper regulatory agencies because I think people need to know. I think that this is the kind of thing that, you know, when you've got a company of this size and you don't have anybody manning a help desk to help people out with a situation like this, you know, it should not have taken that long to get no response. And then to kind of like, you know, my dumb ass thinking that when they removed the 2FA, hey, somebody's actually looking at this. No, that really wasn't the case. There was some digital handshake bullshit that went on. I said something right that got it removed. And that's what again, you know, Mike, I could switch IP providers. I could go to Starbucks and set up an account, but it's just like, I'm so burnt out by this. I'm like, why bother? It took 11 years to build up that following like I had it. It would be like, man, that's just going to suck. But I don't know. I'll think about it one of these days. But I do want to go down this path and see, you know, I am going to end up sending something certified mail to X's corporate legal department. And hopefully an attorney will look at it and I can talk to them and it can be an attorney to attorney conversation. And that's usually how these things get resolved. Because if I could talk to a person, an actual person, and talk to like an attorney and say, dudes, this is what happened, you know? I mean, give me a fucking break here. I suspect this would get resolved. Getting to that point is going to be the trick. That's the situation, man. To anybody who got spammed or got a spammy bullshit direct message from the account I would say between February 19th to the present, if you got anything spammy from me, dude, and actually I take that back. It should only have been from February 19th to the 23rd because the account's been suspended since the 23rd. So nobody should be getting anything. I tried to get in when I got back on today to look at the direct messages. Grok doesn't have a legal degree. No, they don't. And dude, Mike, I even asked Grok about this, and even Grok knows that there's a problem with X internally. And was just kind of like, sorry, man, there's some bullshit that's there. So even Grok knows its own originator has got some issues, which I thought was kind of funny. But, the thing is at this point, there's not a whole lot left that can be done. But like I was saying, anybody who got anything spammy from me between the 19th and the 23rd of February, guys, I profusely apologize. It breaks my heart in more ways than you can imagine that anything like that would be portrayed in my name, because it wasn't me. And horrified doesn't even do justice to, especially like the one person I know, Pavel Ibarra from Secreativo, who I know for a fact from him telling me himself got a DM that tried to scam him. I am just beyond. I can't even explain it. And he was cool. We talked about it. And he's like, nothing happened. It's okay. And I appreciate that. Doesn't change the fact that, man, that was just awful. And like I tried to get in and look at my direct chats, the DMs, and it was there for a second and then they went away. And then it wants me to enter my code in, my PIN code, to be able to look at the DMs. But I can only do that through the X app on my phone. And the X app on my phone doesn't even recognize my account name anymore. So I can't get in on the mobile, on the phone, to go and enter in my code to see the DMs. And I know from the brief flash that I saw that there's stuff there that was going to disturb me if I'd actually had a chance to read it. And I can't. So, I mean, I told a lot of people in various chats and places, like on Patreon, like guys like Andy from that UFO podcast. I told him I'd been hacked. I told Joe Merja I'd been hacked the moment it happened. I told Dan Zetterstrom. I told Tyler from Total Disclosure. I told everybody I could think of that I knew I'd interacted with. I don't know. I couldn't get a message to Tom Thompson before this stuff went down. So yeah, anybody listening to this and want to let people know that, hey, yeah, I can't apologize enough for that bullshit. And I'm really sorry about that. And luckily, I think the damage was limited. I don't think certainly the hackers got anything personal from the DMs, because there wasn't really anything personal in there. All the really good stuff is somewhere else. So at least that part's good. But yeah, that's really it, guys. If I get back, you guys will know. If I get back in, you guys will be the first to know, because you'll see a post on X. If not, we'll just keep trucking along here on the YouTube channel and on the website. I know, like on the live streams, like I think Tunney is kind of finding a way around that and live streaming through his own thing, reposting it there. So people on X can watch the stuff. It's just not coming from me anymore. And the stuff will still be on the YouTube channel. So that's all I got for you guys. And I am going to do a recap. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And again, like, I am absolutely 200,000% not asking anybody to get involved in this, because I don't want any sort of retaliation by Elon's bots against you. If you're going to jump in the deep end with me when this video comes out officially, then by all means, share it on X and tag at X support, and maybe somebody somewhere will see it. But I appreciate it, Mike, that you spread the word, let people know, and profusely apologize for me. I am going to do a video summarizing Conscious Life Expo. I was holding off because I thought I was thinking the situation would resolve itself. And I would do a live show on X and on YouTube recapping Conscious Life, because it was an excellent event. It really was. As all this stuff was going down, the 3 days that were down there in LA were really, really good. Contact in the Desert Light is what I called it. And it was a big event. I mean, much bigger than you would have anticipated. So many vendors and just so much stuff. It was amazing like that. So I am going to do a recap of Conscious Life Expo, because there was some cool stuff that I learned and some really good lectures. And I know we got Contact in the Desert coming up in a few months, and they've announced the speakers, which is tremendous. It's going to be awesome. So I am going to go to that. This won't dissuade me too much, guys. It's disappointing, but the podcast has been around for 11 years. It'll keep going. And X was just one aspect of things. And yeah, that's where I was most active, and that sucks, but I can't do any more than that. So I appreciate anybody who tuned in to listen to this. Mike, thank you so much, buddy. It's always good to have somebody on here to talk to, and I appreciate you hanging in there with me. But that's That's what happened, guys. I can't explain or express how bummed, disappointed, and simply just appalled at the lack of anything worth a shit from X's customer service. And I'm just really disappointed in the whole situation. And I am beyond upset about anybody who got any sort of scam, spammy bullshit for those posts that were pinned to my account, talking about how crypto got him a car and a home. I mean, if there's one thing about the scam that I wish was true, it was that that I had used crypto to get a house and a car. But that's not what happened. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. We'll be seeing you soon. I'll have that episode for Conscious Life Expo recap coming out. And then we finished up Game Gone Wrong, and the Night of the Seven Kingdoms review, and get some wrestling going again. That's it. I hope everybody's doing real well out there. Thank you anybody who tuned in to just watch this. Like I said, this isn't an official episode or anything in the chronology. I just felt like needed to explain what had happened to anybody who was wondering. You guys take care of yourselves. We'll be in touch soon, and thanks for listening.